All right, hello everybody. I have something for you today that I'm calling outrage marketing distinctions. Now, what what precipitated this video is that I was watching a video by Dave Cullen recently about what he calls outrage marketing. To to summarize, imagine that some company X makes a mistake, and then some person A who makes videos reports on this mistake. Now, Dave makes the point, and I think there is something to his point, that there are groups of people who will after hearing A's negative reporting on company X will hear it, but then say a week or a month later, all that will be left in their head is that hey, company X was mentioned, and that negative feeling will be gone. He also notes that sometimes reporting on company X's mistake gives company X more notoriety, more public view, right? So I think he's right on some level, right? There is certainly a group of people who are that forgetful, who will always buy whatever is at eye level in the grocery store, who will always be a paying member of whatever popular streaming service there is, who will always buy the most popular, the most fashionable items. But I think that he's missing out on the opportunity to make some distinctions that I think are important. So, number one, not all consumers are like the person who forgets about everything in a week or a month, right? There is certainly a group of people who will forget and just remember, hey, company X is mentioned in, it's and hey, there's company X on the shelf, and I'll buy that. But there's also groups of people who will, a week or a month or a year later, still say, "Hey, Company X, there's something wrong with Company X. I remember that. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I remember that they did something stupid or awful, and forget about them, right?" And there's another group of people who will say, "Oh yeah, Company X. I remember that 3 years ago they did this, which is why I'm not buying anything from them until they correct their actions by doing such." There are groups, and this is a continuum, a spectrum, right? There's people all along this spectrum who will react in different ways, and the purpose for reporting on the stupid activities of company X is to get the people who will remember to remember, because otherwise they might not know about it, right? If no one reports on the mistakes or negative aspects of company X's advertising campaigns, right, then it's possible there are people who are who have good memories who will not know about the negative advertising. Not everybody sees advertisements. Not everybody looks into or thinks about advertisements. Not everybody reads into company policies, right? There would be a group of people who would be opposed to company X having a strong DIE system implemented in their company, but wouldn't know about it unless someone tells them. So those are the people that need to be targeted. The people who will always buy whatever's popular, whatever's at eye level in the grocery store. Those people are extremely hard to win over in any sense. And frankly, what can we do about that? Well, I'm not sure. That's not the topic of this video. But the other distinction that I think is important to make is that there's also a spectrum of how big company X might be, or person X might be, right? The person who makes the mistake. Now, if company X is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, an entertainment company, or a beverage company, right, then the amount of notoriety, the amount of additional popularity or visibility that they have based on some person criticizing them on the internet is very small compared to their their $100 million advertising budget per year, right? They already have the eye level spots in the grocery store. They already have the most popular streaming services. And so by reporting on the mistakes they make, the reporter is able to make note of what negative actions they're doing, and as by contrast to the positive spin that the company's advertising budget will put onto their own actions, right? So the issue here is that if you're dealing with a very large company that already has $100 million a year to spend on advertising, the extra publicity from a person reporting on their mistakes is negligible compared to the amount of money that they spend, pushing themselves through advertising. And but on the other hand, if company X is actually a person who has 3 followers on Twitter and says something stupid, popularizing that might not be helpful in the long run, right? You turn something that only 3 people would view or only 10 people would view into something that 100,000 people might view. But the other point is this: if you have the stomach to go through and report on all these stupid mistakes by company X and company Y and company Z, and if you can make a living by doing that, you can say that you can make 1 or 2 videos per week on company mistakes like this, and you can make a living from doing that. You can spend the rest of your week making videos or writing essays or discussing with people on podcasts, right? More interesting aspects of things that you find interesting. So, I'm in favor of people using mistakes by large companies to make livings for themselves in criticizing those companies and getting their own messages out, especially if those messages are net positives in general as well. And I think that that's something that Dave's argument really misses, is that in order to report on the mistake for company X, you don't need to do it forever. But what you can do is you can build yourself an audience by discussing popular things. You get seen more. This is just, this is the obvious point about how social media works. People follow hashtags, people click on things based on what's trending, right? So, for people who are getting started, looking into things that are popular and interesting can be a good way for them to build popularity, to build an audience. And, it's one of those things that requires a lot of stomach to actually do, to look into the nonsense that some of these companies are doing to their products, to their customers. It's actually quite painful and requires stomach that I don't have, honestly. So, if people can make a living by doing that and then spread their own positive message more because they can make a living that way, I say go for it. So with that, I'll say that Dave makes some good points, but I'd say that there are some important distinctions that he didn't make that he really should. There are people who have longer memories, and we are fighting for them, not for the people that are, sleepwalking through life. Number 2, there's a distinction between your channel giving 100 more views to a hashtag that already has 100 million views versus your, video channel giving 1,000 more views to something that only will ever have 10 unless you report on it. So with those 2 distinctions, I think I think that we have tempered Dave's argument appropriately, and that's really all I wanted to say. I didn't have any notes for this, so that's all I've got for you. So, as always, good to see you, and hope to see you next time.